Want to know what successful people are doing with their money to create wealth and use it consciously for the greater good? Welcome back to Wealth Unplugged, the weekly podcast that gives you diamond tips on creating conscious wealth from changemakers, world shakers, and wealth creators. Now here's your host, Barbara Turley.
Hi there, and welcome to another week of Wealth Unplugged, the podcast where I give you the key tips and strategies that I pick up from the amazing female entrepreneurs, female investors, and female philanthropists that I've been interviewing on my Feminine Wealth TV show. And you can catch that show over on my website at energizewealth.com. So this week, I had a really gorgeous, bubbly, the most bubbly, I think, CEO that I have ever had on the show. I had Jane Liu, who is the CEO of a company called Showpo. Now, Showpo, which was originally called Showpony, it's an online retail boutique. So basically, she is in the rag trade and she's been selling clothing online. Now, as many of you out there are probably thinking, and as I was thinking when I first saw this story, the rag trade it's a hard game, right? And anyone who's in that game will tell you that that's quite a tough game to be in. But to be in it in the online world, I mean, arguably, maybe it's easier, I don't know, but I know that Jane has just turned her business into an absolute powerhouse, and purely with her two obsessions being fashion and social media. And she has done this on a complete shoestring budget. Today, Showpo is 4 years in, and it is doing $1 million a month in the business right now. Let me say that again. She's doing $1 million a month right now in an online boutique selling clothing. So, as you can see, I was absolutely super excited to get her on the show. So, you know, Jane's story, the interesting thing is that she actually started out in the corporate world. As many of the women and many of you listening probably are stuck in the corporate world right now or have just left. She actually left and she launched a business which was a pop-up boutique selling clothes. And it didn't work. She had business partners. I won't get into it, but it completely failed. And within a month of her leaving her job, she ended up totally in debt, out of job. Her parents didn't realise, she hadn't told anyone, and she was just at the lowest ebb of her entire life. So she picked herself up from there, and Showpo was born online. So, you know, there were really some key tips and strategies that I really took from Jane, because it's one thing to be a super success, but she created this super success kind of from the depths of nothing. And like I say, you know, she was at an emotional low. She felt like a bit of a failure. She had massive amounts of debt. You know, she had student debt, she had travel debt, she had credit card debt. She really didn't have any money coming in. So the fact that she's built a multi-million-dollar brand in 4 years is outstanding. So the first key takeout, I guess, that I took from Jane, and it's something I've talked about before in my blogs and definitely on this show, is the concept of hustle. You know, how hot is your hustle is the question you always have to ask yourself. How much are you willing to hustle to make something happen? Because sometimes the difference between success and failure is actually hustle. You know, lots of us walk around and we think, you know, if only I had loads of money, if only I had an amazing business plan or a mentor or had the most amazing offices or all these different things. And actually what it all really boils down to, and this is something Jane was very good at and she brought it up a couple of times, is how much are you willing to hustle? How good is your marketing? Now, marketing, a lot of marketing is about hustle, because marketing leads to sales, right? You know, and marketing leads to lead generation and brand building. But obviously marketing can cost a lot of money. So Jane, again, with her hustleometer hot and high and heavy, she went out there and she realized that where she had a lot of strength was in social media. She said that she literally whittled away her days in the corporate world just playing around on Facebook. So for anyone out there who is really strong on social media and wondering, you know, am I just wasting my time or any of these things, I really want you to think about this and think about the areas that you might be strong in that you can really utilize to your advantage. So with Jane and the social media thing, she managed to garner a huge following online before she ever really had a product, to be honest, or anything really for sale. She ran around, she created flyers, and she told me a very funny story about one night she was out, you know, on a night out, and she didn't have any money to get a taxi home. So she decided to walk. It wasn't very far, but it was 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's not advising that, but she happened to have some flyers in her handbag. So she decided on the way home she'd do a flyer drop, and she dropped all the flyers on the way home in people's letterboxes. So, that's hustle, right? That takes guts, and it's a lot of hustle there. So she actually created a lot of success by just, as I said, getting her hustle really on. So the next point sort of brings me on to my next point about building a tribe. Hustle is one thing. I think you got to hustle online, you got to hustle offline. But where she did very, very well, like I said, was in social media. She was big on Facebook, and she managed to grow a big tribe there. But one of the clever things that she did was she started taking selfies of herself in the clothes that she was selling on her little website that she had built by herself as well. She had taught herself how to build a website. She put it up there, and then she just simply started taking photos of herself, all selfies, and posting them on social media with the hashtag #ILoveShowpo. Now, 4 years later, this is what has happened. The hashtag #ILoveShowpo is still going. And not only did all her friends start posting photos of themselves in the clothes that she was selling with this hashtag, but eventually other girls who had bought online some of the clothes started taking their own selfies and actually posting them with that hashtag. So what's happened over the course of 4 years is it has grown into this massive hashtag, syndrome that everybody's hashtagging themselves in the clothes. And obviously that's a self-feeding frenzy where other people start to see it. And as Jane herself said, what then happens is when you come to the site and you actually want to buy something, you end up seeing all these photos of a particular outfit that's for sale, and you see it styled in a ton of different ways. You see girls of different heights, different sizes, different shapes, different colors, different everything, wearing the same outfit in many different ways. So it creates this sense of inclusion and togetherness, and it just self-feeding, I guess, and it feeds itself. So she built this massive tribe, and she's got like 500,000 followers on Facebook, and she gets massive engagement and everything. But she gets asked a question a lot, and I thought I'd bring this one up. People ask her, how long should you have your product before you build your tribe in social media? And she actually said, that's completely the wrong way of thinking about it. You need to build your tribe like ASAP. So if you're sitting there right now with a business where you don't really have a product yet for sale, really think about, well, I should start building my tribe straight away, because as Jane said, nobody cares about your product. They're not holding their breath. Your tribe or the people who are following you, they're not holding their breath waiting for you to produce a product. They actually don't really care. They just care about the engagement, and they care about what you're doing for them. So never be shy to go out and build a tribe, even when you don't have anything yet. Just go out there and build the tribe, and then worry about the product later. And actually your tribe then will tell you what they actually want. So I know that on my website, energizewealth.com, I very much focused on building this sort of digital platform before I ever really had anything for sale. And all I was thinking about up there was thinking about my ideal client, who's listening. And what are the things that you're facing? What are the issues that you're trying to get over right now in your life, in your financial life, specifically in your business life? And then how can I offer my expertise on the website in multiple different ways to build a tribe, build a platform that people can follow before I ever come to sell something? So, I have the Feminine Wealth TV show, which is an online TV show. I've got this podcast. I'm writing for my blog. I'm doing Google Hangouts, and I'm doing lots of stuff in other people's websites too, guest posting and all these other things. Now, it might seem like a huge amount of work, and it is. Trust me, I know it is a lot of work. But sometimes when you build the tribe first, you build the following, and then they sort of know, like, and trust you. It's that know, like, and trust factor. So when you do come to produce a product, then people are more interested. They want to know what you have to say. So recently I had this experience myself where I've produced a training program called the Get Savvy Academy training program. And it's a 6-week online training program for women entrepreneurs who want to get this wealth thing really sorted out. So, and the response has been great to that because I've already built that tribe. So again, if you're out there and you're struggling and you're blogging and you're thinking about all this stuff, I want you to really think about, this idea of a platform and getting your expertise out there, or even your product, build a following. If you've got like Jane had clothing product, but think about what will engage the tribe first before you try to sell them something. And that's really, really important. Now, that brings me on to my third and final key takeout from Jane. And actually, I was quite surprised at this one. And it was a real eye-opener for us to talk about this. And it was about this problem of doubting yourself. Now, you would look at someone like Jane and say, I looked at her and said, how can you doubt yourself? Like, you, in 4 years, have come from nothing to being a multi-million-dollar super success story. And she made the comment that, it's human nature that we're never really looking down the chain. We're always looking up the chain. So, at her level now, she's looking at the entrepreneurs that are above her. So she's looking at the entrepreneurs that are running businesses that are 50, 100 million now and feeling like, that she's beneath them somehow and that she has to strive for that. So she said she still has those days where she has self-doubt. She has days where she, questions her own ability to run the team in her own company. And I thought it was really good for us to realise that and for all of us to hear that, particularly as women in business, because we often forget that, we're always going to feel a sense of self-doubt. It actually is human nature. I feel it. There's days I sit in my office and I feel so, riddled with self-doubt. And I realise that people out there don't see that. They don't see that end of what I'm doing. And Jane said the same thing. And I was really happy that she was that open about it on the show, because I think it's something that as women, us starting out in business or if we're investing and, just dealing with money in general, we need to know that we're not alone and that this is totally normal to feel this way. So that was a really powerful way to end, I think, with my discussion with Jane. And I thought, she brought that amazing point to the table, and I'm probably going to blog about this actually as well. So, if you like this show and if you feel that you're getting some really good key takeouts, especially if you've been listening for a while, I'd really love to hear about it, either in the comments below the show or over on my website. That's usually where we have all the comments going. The website is energizewealth.com, so you can comment over there. Or if you're listening on iTunes, I'd love you to give us a rating and a review, because that would help to get the show out to more people. So it would really light me up if you were able to do that for us. We also got a couple of reviews happening over on Stitcher and Podomatic and some of the other podcasting directories that are out there. So if you're over there, high five, give us a follow and a bit of a review. That would be fantastic. So come back next week when I am talking to a lady called Cecilia Robinson, who is, I described her as the dancing queen of business. This woman is not even 29 years old yet, and she's running two multi-million-dollar businesses. One of them she's just launched here in Australia, called My Food Bag. Very interesting concept. And she had some really, really amazing things to say about building a business that it requires a lot of logistics. So, and the powers of teams and stuff like that. So come back next week and I will share with you my insights from Cecilia. See you then.
Thanks for tuning in. Come and join us on energizewealth.com to continue the conversation. Get your free video training, 7 Steps to Energized Wealth, and watch the video interviews that were the inspiration behind this episode.